Let's go live. We're going live, folks. Going live over on Instagram and last, but actually probably least, going live on Facebook as well. All right, looks like we're live. Looks like we're live on YouTube as well. Fantastic. I'm just gonna try and get all the chats up and running here. So as usual, I'm a one-man show today. So I will try to monitor the chats as best I can. Yep, that's coming through on YouTube. All right, so let us begin. Hey, everybody, welcome back to another fantastic hour or so of question and answer, 3D printing, drones. And actually, we're going to get to do something a little special. You're going to get to help me pick out some giveaway prizes. Yeah, giveaway prizes. It's going to be a lot of fun because it's super fun to give stuff away. So we're going to hang out here. But if you have questions, maybe you're a beginner in drones and 3D printing and you have questions about that stuff and you're like, why is this catching on fire? Or why does this not do anything when I press a button? Let us know. Let me know. Put your questions and stuff in the chat, in the comments section. And I and probably everybody else in the chat will try to get you squared away, because that's what we like doing over here at RCwithAdam Ministries. We try to get you flying, get you printing, instead of just curled up in a ball in the corner crying because things aren't working, and you have to spend like hours and hours and hours researching what the problem is. So that's what we try to do here. We basically I could probably solve your problem, or at least point you in the right direction and save you, like, I don't know, 5 hours of researching what the problem is, especially if you're brand new and you don't even know like what the words are to use to search the problems. So that's fun. So that's what we'll do today if we can. But otherwise, we're going to hang out and talk about drone stuff. Yesterday, I was just going through my big box of drone stuff, and I was saying, kind of some of it was kind of embarrassing because like I have stuff like this drone right here that it's like brand new. Not the frame, but the motors are brand new. The stack is brand new. I started tinning the motor pads, and that's it. That's as far as I got. And then I don't know. I don't know what. I lost interest or something else more important was coming up and all that stuff. But you can check out all the discussion about that on the previous stream over on YouTube. I don't think it saves it on Instagram. YouTube's kind of the primary thing. So we're going to be putting some stuff together to give away. And I'm just going to be going through this box of drone stuff and talking about it. I'm going to try and do my best to manage all this stuff here. All right, looks like we have, I think 4 people over on YouTube. Hello, welcome to today's live stream. I like to call it a meeting. We're meeting. It's a live meeting. I guess I can't see you. It's kind of a one-sided meeting, but it's more, you're talking to a real person. It's not just like a live stream, like, I don't know, some random person. I guess I'm a random person to other random people. But I don't know. I feel like it's different. Animate Fun over on YouTube. Hello there. Welcome to the live troubleshooting video call / hanging out and talking about RC stuff, drone stuff, 3D printing stuff. Yeah, so that's what we're going to be doing. I think I might actually do a little tabletop show and tell if I can get the cameras and stuff to work right. Do I need to back this up a little bit? I know it's a little tight over on Instagram because it's just vertical. head. There we go. I don't know. I'm playing around with having the DJI Osmo camera upside down. Or yeah, Osmo. Yeah. All right. So, mm, all right. So, yeah. So let's get into it. And by getting into it, where do we want to start here? So this quadcopter. Yeah. So we talked about this quadcopter. So, oh, by the way, so the giveaway. So we're doing 12 days of Christmas giveaway, and it's going to be super fun. I'm giving away stuff. I just put out the first video. You can check it out on the YouTube channel. This is only on YouTube, and it's for the Go-Go Bird Eagles. So that is going to be fun. We're giving away 2 of those, so we're actually going to have 2 winners on the first one. Go check out the video for all the details, but the deadline is January 11th to enter in all of this series of 12 giveaways. Animate Fun. We have a question from Animate Fun. Animate Fun says, bro, should I butt the NX4 Evo or NX4 Evo Pro? What is that? And I'm assuming you mean buy. All right, we're going to go on a little side quest here to answer this question. I will share my screen. Just kidding, my screen with you in a moment. Let me look up what we're talking about here. NX4 Evo. Oh, it's a flight controller, I guess. NX4 Evo or Evo Pro. Let's see. Well, pretty much the question that I have to ask whenever somebody asks me a question like that is, what do you want to do with it? What are you trying to do with it? Let me share my screen here in just a moment. Can we do that one? Oh, okay. Coming up. Kinda. Oof. Very slow for some reason. Very slow. So I'm not familiar with this flight controller. It looks like it's a flight controller, 3D flight gyroscope balance support rate hold gyro off mode for fixed wing aircraft. So it's a fixed wing aircraft flight controller for servos and stuff. I don't know. I'm not sure what the difference is. Yeah, making an RC airplane with it. Let's see. Looks like we have it on Amazon here for about $20 for the normal one, and then $16 for the Pro version. I'm not sure about that. Does it say what the difference is? There we go. This product features horizontal self-stabilization, mid-flight manual, 3D locking. So the NX4 Evo is one-click rescue. That's kind of cool. Yeah, so the question is, should you go with the Pro version or the Evo version? I don't know. They seem the same. They seem almost the same. It looks like the Evo has one-click rescue. They both support single aileron, double aileron, delta wing, V-tail, stuff like that. So, it sounds like if you go with the Evo, you're getting the one-click rescue, but I'm not exactly sure what that means exactly. But you can probably find out by checking out like the flight controller manuals.plus. I'm not sure if that's legit or not, but I'm sorry. Did I say flight controller? I meant flight manual. The manual, whatever, for it. You could check that out. So if it's all the same, I guess go with the one that's cheaper. It's weird. Yeah, it seems like the Pro version is consistently less expensive. On this site, this is rc-castle.com. Huh. It looks like one of them sticks out the bottom, or sticks out the front, and one of them sticks out like the side. So, yeah, I am really not sure. Personally, if it was me, I would probably go with the Evo and not the Pro, because it seems like for some reason there's more options, or like it's newer or something. Yeah, I don't know why, but that would be my answer. Go with the Evo. That is what I would say there. All right. Over on Instagram, welcome everybody on Instagram. Looks like we got a pretty decent amount of people over there. Welcome. Yeah, so if you're just joining us, we are going to be talking. We're going to be hanging out for the next hour or so. It might be a little shorter today, and trying to solve your problems. If you have drone or 3D printing problems or questions you want to ask, you want to get into the hobby, you want to need some troubleshooting help and stuff like that. And then what I'm going to be doing in the meantime, actually, let me just put this mic on my shirt. Can I put this on my shirt here? Let me put it on my jacket. Yeah, that should work. Hopefully you can hear me well enough like this, because I'm going to be moving around a little bit here. Let's go like this. Something like that. All right, cool. So we're just going to be doing some drone reminiscing and stuff. Let me, I want to play around with the camera here. Let me get this. Let me go. Oh, usually what I like to do is to sort of, keep you entertained as you're watching. I like to have something playing. Maybe this would be good. But this one, classic. Yeah, so I'm gonna get set up here. See if we can set up our desktop area. Kind of mix things up a little bit. Let's see. Check 1 2 on the audio. Just checking to make sure that the Mac audio capture is not too overwhelming. That should be all right. Cool. All right, I'm gonna make some adjustments here. How that works. All right. Let me turn on some lights. We can see what we're looking at. Sweet. Okay, cool. That should work out well. Hopefully it's not too bright. I guess I could angle it. That'd probably make more sense, huh? In any case, yeah. Oh, over on YouTube, we got a question. Let me read the question over on YouTube. Varak over on YouTube says, "Hi, can you help me find the best Tiny Whoop flight controller without RHW VTX? Because I have Beta FPV C04 plus M04 VTX. About 2 days ago, I asked if you could help me with the problem that it only gives me a black screen. And I figured out that it probably can't work without the flight controller." Okay. Yeah, I think I see what you're saying. So the question is, find the best Tiny Whoop flight controller without, I'm not sure what RHW is or what that word is supposed to be, but it's VTX. So without the video transmitter. Yes, I remember that. I remember that. Let's see. I think I just got rid of those tabs actually. Let's check that out. So let's check it. Let's go to Beta FPV. Beta FPV. I'll share my screen in just a second. I am pretty sure that that is not your issue as far as being able to use it or needing a flight controller to use it. I don't think that is the case. That doesn't really sound quite right. So we'll check that out and make sure. Let's see here. I'm just getting some stuff set up over here. Gonna test out my spinny display thing. See how that works. Ooh, that's cool. All right, I gotta turn this off though because it's bugging my eyes. All right, so, oh, I just realized now I have this whole thing in front of my face. Well, that's why we try things. All right, so let me, oh wow, I didn't take that into account. These motor wires are like going around grabbing screws and stuff off of the table. Okay, let's see if we can see if I can pull my life together here. Okay, cool. So we are looking at this stuff. So, sorry, I'm getting distracted. I'm trying to take care of this other issue. Cool. Whoa, the P1 Air Unit HD VT. So Beta FPV. Let's go back to this. Let's go to the camera and VTX. Let's find what you had. You had the C04 camera module and VTX, which currently is sold out. Hopefully you can hear me okay. Let me switch my mic over back on the stand here. Make sure you can hear me. Okay, so let's just double check this here. So it's a modular camera, C04 camera VTX module for the Cetus X quadcopter. Okay, so maybe that's kind of what you were thinking, is like as far as it not being able to work on a, if it's not on a flight controller, because it does say module for the Cetus X quadcopter, easy installation, uses simply plug and play with its lightweight 4.41 gram design and 200 VTL resolution. This camera delivers outstanding performance. Blah 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 blah. By purchasing and replacing it on your Cetus X quadcopter, pilots can secure emergency backup and minimize downtime. All right, so they're really, really pushing the fact that it's for the Cetus. Hmm. Okay, so this part is kind of interesting. So it says if you have the if you have the Betaflight version flight controller for your Cetus X quadcopter, please select the M04 version, C04 M04 version, C04 version camera and VTX module. Otherwise, choose the Cetus 2 version. All right. So what, Varak, over on YouTube, what is this going on? What are we putting the VTX module on? Are you putting it on a different tiny whoop or an airplane or something like that? And then how are you powering it as well? Because previously we were talking about how we were talking about the issue that you were having was that it shows that there's a connection to your goggles and that the signal strength is good, but it's a black screen. And let's see, he says on YouTube there's 2 types of the camera. Right. So the question is, which type do you have? Let's see here. So it's plug and play connector. The camera VTX have already been soldered together. Plug and play directly. Suitable for Cetus quadcopter. Okay. It looks like a simple 3-pin connection, I think. Or no, it's more than that. It might depend. Yeah, okay, that's the 2 different versions. Cetus 2 version. So that's the M04 version. Which version do you have? I guess you said that, right? You have the Beta FPV C04 plus M04. So that would be this version that you have with like the multicolored cable. And he says, I purchased it for a Nano Goblin. Okay, so fixed wing, right? That's what we're talking about. Yeah, I think I remember when those Nano Goblins came out. That was, or I remember seeing those. Those were cool. A fast FPV plane seems actually like a lot of fun as well. That's what I want to do more of too. Yeah, is FPV on airplanes. That's fun. He says I have the Beta FPV C04 VTX, not the plug and play. Right. Okay, so okay. Okay, so this is another area where I actually don't have the specific answer for you, in the sense that I don't know what the current like up to date thing is for Betaflight for updating the VTXs. So if somebody knows in the comments, that would be great. Let's do a little researching here together. So let's look up like Betaflight VTX setup. Let's see. So this would be probably one of my go-tos. the oscarlang.com, how to set up VTX table in Betaflight. So that's what I'm wondering here, if this is like a VTX table situation with Betaflight. So in the that's right. Sorry. So you were the whole question that you actually had in the first place was what's the best mini whoop flight controller without a VTX? Short answer, I don't know. I'm not super familiar with them. But my other question is, what is your whole Nano Goblin setup? Because like, are you using a flight controller for the Nano Goblin, or are you just doing like a normal like servo style ESC receiver? Sorry. Okay. Varak says, sorry, I'm from the Czech Republic, so there is big delay. No worries. No worries. I know it's hard to do it in real time. And there's also a delay because sometimes I don't read the comments as soon as they pop up. But this is good though, because this is something that I've been I need to get down again, because it used to be you didn't have to do anything in Betaflight to set up the VTX tables, and now I think you may need to. So let's look up this as well. So this is basically the direction that I would point you, is to check if this is an issue setting up the VTX tables in Betaflight. But okay, sorry. So I realize now that what we were talking about, the whole thing about having the flight controller or not. Okay, yeah, sorry. I turned it into like my question, because I was like just curious about it. So it could be the case. It could be the case that this needs to be like set up, or sort of like quote unquote unlocked in Betaflight, and I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it does or not. So, but like you said, what's the best, cheap flight controller, or best tiny whoop flight controller without the VTX? I guess, let's see. You could do, you could do a brush flight controller. That would probably be cheaper, right? So what do we have here? Wow. Okay. So they're all sold out. That's interesting. Interesting. And then I'm not sure if you're in the Czech Republic. I'm not sure what would be the best option. What's most accessible to you? Yeah, I'm really not familiar with tiny whoops, to be honest with you. So as far as what is the best one, couldn't really answer that. Um, but one potential solution to your issue is maybe if you have a flight controller that you can connect the VTX to, and then like get it set up on Betaflight, like on a VTX table, and then see if it works with your goggles. But I'm not sure if that like sticks with the if that sticks with the VTX. Yeah. Sorry, I wish I could help more, but this. Oh, I'm struggling. I'm struggling with trying to come up with a good answer or a good solution to this question. Hmm. Yeah, cause this thing doesn't even have buttons, does it? Does it have buttons to change the frequency? All right, so Varak on YouTube says Nano Goblin setup I have a 30 amp ESC and normal RX. I want to run it battery to 5-volt BEC, red and black wires from VTX or camera. Which, yeah, in this case is the combo. Are there? There's got to be like manuals for these, right? Let's search that. Let's search C04 camera manual. Maybe not. Maybe there's not a whole lot of info. Let's just search setup. You may have searched this already, so I don't know if this is really helpful or not, but if I can answer this question and figure this out, then I'll be ready for the next one. So that is, what is that? There's that one. How to set up and wire FPV camera in VTX. Well, that's kind of generic. So really, we're talking about that one. Those just look like promo videos or something. Yeah, this is just pictures that I've already seen. So thank you for nothing, video. All right. Camera and or beta F. I forgot to put beta FPV. Yeah. Still not getting a ton of info on this. Troubleshooting. How to fix black screen. Maybe that would help. Let's see here. So if your drone has a black screen, follow the troubleshooting manual below to solve it. Please turn on OSD function before you diagnose this problem. There are 2 solutions for black screen with OSD information. Varak, did you already see this one? The beta FPV support thing here. So black screen with OSD info, black screen without OSD info. If your drone can fly even without the FPV goggles and there is OSD info on the screen, it proves that there's no problem with the flight controller. Check the wiring connection. Okay. Yeah, because my question would be, how do you even change the channel? How do you even change the channel on your VTX? On this, the combo VTX that we're talking about. Because I believe you said it was race 8 that your goggles were was showing a connection on race 8, but maybe that's just what comes with out of the box. So race 8, what we're talking about, for anybody who doesn't know, we're talking about you have your channels 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then your band, and then the R band called race band, race 8. So that would be 5917. But that is weird though, because like why wouldn't that work? I don't see why that I don't see why it would show that you have a connection, and it sounds like it would show that the power is on, but then you're not able to get any video feed. Not sure about that one. Yeah, because it's not like you have to, it's all in one unit, so it's not like you have to connect your camera to the VTX. Okay, I think what you're saying is he says he didn't see this before, the beta troubleshooting how to fix a black screen on beta FPV website. It's the second one, so black screen without OSD information on the screen. So that would be the situation 2. So check the wiring connection. Yeah, and then check the flight controller. And so it says, because they say turn on the OSD info, basically. If that's like an option. Most flight controllers now will have the OSD available, and you would turn that on through your flight controller configurator, like Betaflight, if you're using Betaflight. So he says the goggles shows 91% on R8 on R8 E6 E7, and I assume that's signal strength, not not battery power percentage. E6 and E7, E6 and E7. Those are pretty close. 5905, 5925, and then 5917. Huh. Yeah, I don't. Did you end up checking out the whether or not it was the NTSC or PAL format? Um, what did you say you have? Did you say you have the? Did you say you have the VR02 goggles? I want to say you said you had the O2 goggles. Wow, the HD FPV goggles for 150? That's interesting. Right. Okay, you do have the VR02 goggles. Super. Yeah, that's why I was just trying to figure out with this one, like what the situation was. As far as being able to adjust it. Yeah, and then I would definitely manually cycle through all of the like all of the channels and uh, bands in order to make sure that you're like on the right one. Um. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. So it would look like this, and then in the top right corner, it would give your signal strength. Uh, but where's the manual? Where's the info? Right? Like it's got to be here somewhere. Somewhere. Oops, I meant to say manual. Mm. Mm-hmm. Well, in any case, I mean, these are, I think, the goggles that come with the Cetus, the Cetus like ready to fly kit. So it wouldn't make any sense that they weren't set up to work with them. You know? Eh. Hmm. Yeah, that's the best. That's the best I got. I think that's the best I got for you right now. But let me know if you come up with anything else. Like I said, so if you, I mean, the easiest thing would be if you have a flight controller handy, wire it up, see if that like fixes it somehow. Um, See if you need to do like a VTX table in Betaflight. I still think that's weird though, and it's still possible that there's something wrong with the actual camera connection. Possible. We got some activity over on the YouTube. Greg over on YouTube. Still going. I'm late, is what he says. No, you're not late. You're right on time. A wizard is never late. Uh, yeah, Verac says there's no settings. There are no settings in the goggles. Yeah, then I mean it must be set up to work for that. And go something over on YouTube. Asks a question, says, "What are all the technical skill required to build drone?" Um, well, first of all, if you don't want to build a drone, you don't have to because there are many pre-built options out there. But as far as like what is the technical skill required, pretty much um typically it's soldering. That's usually one of the hardest parts for people, but pretty much soldering. So soldering the wires together and using a soldering iron. That's going to be like your main tool. You need to be able to like kind of like strip wires, and remove the sheathing off of the wires, cut wires to length. Um, you know, basic, very basic like tools like assembling the frame with like uh, hex head screws, and being able to understand and read instruction manuals or like wiring diagrams, basically. So it kind of depends on what setup you have and all that sort of stuff. Sometimes the hardest part is just figuring out what works together and what does not. So if it's your first drone build, uh, I would recommend doing like a a kit of some kind, something that's like all set up together, um, so that everything will work together. That's probably one of the hardest parts. And Varak says it is NTSC and PAL, but it's automatically switched, or it should be. Yeah, that could be the case. It's possible that it automatically switches, but I know I've had that issue before. But I think, yeah, I think what you were saying is there's no option to switch it or not. But again, it's made, it should be made specifically to work with that setup. So that's weird. I mean, if you have like a voltmeter or a multimeter, you could like check the pins on the camera to make sure it's getting power. So that's possible. It's possible that it's a power issue and or it's a connection issue between the camera and the VTX. So if we go back to the VTX setup here, well, also, like, do all the lights turn on, or any lights that should turn on? Or I guess, do any lights turn on at all would be my question. But the connection, can I get these big? How do I make these big? Make photo big. Enhance. Enhance. That's not helping. That's just making the text bigger. Let me try. There we go. So, of course, a pinout diagram would be better, but these pins right here on the left-hand side, it looks like those are the wires to power the camera and get the information from the camera to the VTX. Yeah, so it'd be like those guys on the bottom left. I think it is. It's possible that they're just like standoffs too. Could be the top right. I don't really know. But what you could do is just check for continuity between the pins. So you find the power pin. It'd be better if you could do it when it's not powered on, so you don't fry anything accidentally. But basically, if you find the power pin, or the pad that corresponds to the power pin, let's do this one too. No, I already did that one. This guy right here. If you find the right pad, you could make sure that you're getting the right amount of voltage on the camera side. That's what I would do. Yeah. Yeah, I wish I could help you more with that, but it's hard to not having the stuff like in hand right in front of me. All right. Well, we are almost out of time. We're nearing about an hour, but we've got a little bit more time here. Let's go ahead and we'll just kind of hang out here on the table. I'm kind of testing out this like tabletop setup. I've never done this before for streaming and stuff, so we'll see how that goes. And the lighting and stuff is kind of different. Wow, that's really bright lighting on there. I should probably not have it so bright, but that's okay. You can see it all right. So, so this guy. So back to the giveaway, like I was talking about. I'm gonna be giving this away. It's so tempting to hold on to it, but like I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't. Oh, but realistically, like I haven't built this yet, right? And I'm sure somebody out there, one of you fine people, would love to get this and finish the build yourself. So that's probably what I'll do. And I have, these are Popo motors, pop on, pop off motors. You can see that. Luminaire. So yeah, these are fresh, never used, which, like I said, is kind of embarrassing. But then I thought, maybe we should really sweeten the deal. And here's another frame. This is the, oh, it has a funny name. It's like a raptor frame. What's it called? I don't remember what it was, but it's a old school traditional style Cinewoop 3-inch with the big old ducts. But anyway, this one has I got the camera. I've got an analog camera and an analog video transmitter. So I'm thinking I might just pull it out of this guy and stick it on, and send it to whoever wins this thing. So that way you'll actually have like the whole setup minus the receiver, because you'd have the whole stack. This is a Flywoo stack, Flywoo F7 45 Pro. Again, it's one of those things where, and you could probably relate to this, where like you just have stuff laying around and then you just don't think about it. You're doing other stuff, whatever. But then once you actually like pull it out, because maybe you're like, oh, I'm just going to get rid of it. And then you pull it out and then you're like, oh, wow, that's so cool. I forgot I had this. And then, so then you want to keep it, but then like still nothing more happens with it. So that's what I'm trying to avoid. I'm really trying to flex my giving muscles. You know what I'm saying? Trying to make sure that I don't hold on to things too much, because then, that leaves no room for new stuff. Plus, I'm tired of not knowing like where all my stuff is and what I have and what works and what doesn't. So that's partly what I'm trying to do. It's new year, a good time to do it. Starting a new year and everything. Yeah. So yeah, I think I'm gonna be giving away that Cinewoop frame as well. And I'd like to give it away with a stack of some kind. Ooh, I've got motors. Oh, look at that. I should give this away too. I don't even know if this works or not. Some of this stuff won't be necessarily guaranteed to work. It's just gonna be like a hey, I'm clearing this out. Would you like this for free? Okay, cool. So let's put this guy on the little spinny thing so you can see it. This is, I don't know if this is an ESC. I can't remember if this works or not. It's been waterproofed, so I think it's been in the water. Yeah, you can tell we got a little bit of corrosion on the lead there. I'm sure it could be cleaned up just fine. And oh yeah, this is an older stack because we have a little Diatone Mamba. It's a what is this? 5 volt. Oh, 5 volt or 9 volt out. So this is a voltage regulator piece on here. And this one takes it from your battery voltage to, in this case specifically, I needed 9 volt so that I could run my DJI Air unit for the FPV system. Over on YouTube, Posh says, hey, so I'm new to 3D printing and confused by supports. I have been using the auto support feature, but today I found a print with some overhangs that claims to not need them. It's printing and is fine. And Annette over on YouTube says, Happy New Year all. Happy New Year to you too. Yeah, supports. So Posh on YouTube, what slicer, what 3D slicer software are you using? I use Bamboo Studio. That's what I use. And the supports option, I don't usually use, I try to avoid supports like the plague. just because it just takes longer. It's, you know, it's kind of a waste, but sometimes you need to use them. And typically when I do use supports, I use like the tree function, the tree supports, or I will use the, or I will paint on supports as well. Let me see if I can pull up Bamboo Studio just to kind of give a visual of what we're talking about here. So these motors I have here on this little spinny display wheel, I'm pretty sure these dudes are good to go. Pretty sure they might be a little gritty, but you know, especially though, you know, not everybody flies drones, quadcopters. You know, you got 4 motors here. You could build 4 airplanes with these, so that's pretty sweet. I'm not sure if the ESC is going to be very good or not. Anyway, you know, if I recall correctly, these are the motors that I used for my my ultralight X-Class build, which was kind of a joke. Let me create a new project here. So let's jump into this. We don't do this too much, but this will be fun. So let me get in here. I'm gonna try and size it so that even people on Instagram can see what we're working with a little bit. We'll give it a try. So let me share my screen with you. Posh says he uses Flash Print. Came with my Flash Forge. Okay, I'm not familiar with Flash Print, but there we go. So there's Bamboo Studio. So let's generate some. Let's add a shape. Let's add a how would we want to do that? What would be something that would have overhangs? Let's say we want to do, what are these guys? Let's do a bamboo cube, right? Let's say a bamboo cube. And it has bridging in the middle, but like, so I'm not actually, let me see, what did you actually have a question? Claims to not need them. Yeah, so I guess the question would basically be like, when do you need overhangs and when do you not? You know, why would you not need overhangs? So like this one, let's just go ahead and turn on supports for this object. So we're going to click enable supports. Sorry if the text is kind of small. I'm not quite sure how to make it bigger at this moment. So then we have different options. You can do tree type supports. That's kind of like the shape and style. I like using tree, and I usually do tree slim, just to use less filament. And then you can do the threshold angle, which is basically like that will determine the angle at which supports are going to be generated. You can choose if it's on build plate or not. You can support critical regions only, and it just decides that on its own, so it may or may not be accurate. But let's go ahead and click slice plate. Let's see if it generates any. Yep, it does. So you see in the green, that is the support, and that's a tree shape. So we can slice it down, and you can see there it's growing. So it's got a very, very wide brim. Probably a little too wide for this, for what is particularly necessary here. And you can just see it go up. And then right there, it's supporting that big, long bridge. Now, in this particular case, you could probably print this bridge without needing to do like the supports. Well, I know you can because I've printed this without the supports because, like I said, I don't like to use supports. But you're more likely to have kind of some droopy layers on those first few layers if you don't have that. Now, you'll notice there are some areas that are like angled, like these corners are like kind of chamfered, and you don't need supports there because they're gonna kind of stack on top of each other enough, and they'll kind of overlap each other, so you don't need supports there. And Let's see here. Let me catch up on the comments. So Flash, he's using FlashForge. Flash Print for the FlashForge. FlashForge also suggests Orca for FlashForge, but it seems like the deep end. I'm not familiar with Orca. I think Orca isn't Orca similar to Bamboo Studio, or what was it that I feel like Bamboo Studio is based on Orca, or was it based on Crucia Slicer? I don't remember. They're kind of. I think Orca's isn't that like the open source one? I'm not sure, but yeah, it can get really into the deep end in terms of what you can do, which is sometimes great depending on how much control you want to have over your print. Anant over on YouTube says, "Is the motor spinning to fly the drone?" The motors? You mean the spinny thing? The motor spinning to fly the drone. Is it wings integrated with motor? I'm not sure. Or do you mean this thing that's spinning on this camera? This is just a little spinny display I have, and I have these motors that we will be giving away at some point over the next 12 days of the 12 days of giveaways. Posh over on YouTube says, "Could I send you the Thingiverse link so you can see what I mean? If not, I'm not here to hijack a stream." Yeah, we've got, yeah, that'll probably be like our kind of our last question thing. But yes, please do. Please send it to me. I don't think you can put links in the chat, but you could give it a try. You could send it like not as a link, like not as a full hyperlink. Give that a try. Otherwise, you could send it to my email, adam@rcwithadam.com, and I could get it that way. Because it is helpful. It's very different to actually be able to get the actual model and see what you're talking about. Greg over on YouTube says, old 5-inch drones that are strong can be used for that robotic claw recovery drone. Yeah. Indeed. Yeah, we were talking about like having a robotic claw on the recovery drone, I think yesterday is what it was. And yeah, that would be like a good use for, kind of a drone that like, you're not really worried about if you lose it or something. Just have it be like a recovery drone, especially if it's picking up like smaller drones, Yeah, Posh, I don't see the link in the chat, this particular chat. I'm not sure why it wouldn't show up. Or I mean, maybe YouTube just doesn't allow it. Yeah, that could be the case. But hopefully I kind of answered your question there, or something like that. Basically supports, you can design things in such a way that you don't need supports, and you can also slice things and print them in such a way that you don't need supports either. So, and that would be, called model orientation or part orientation, like orienting it on the build plate. So like, for example, let's just say, let's add a primitive, like let's do a cylinder. Add it. Oh no, whoops, I don't want to add it to that. I want to add it to like a cylinder. So we have a cylinder. I'm going to press S to scale it. Let's drag it up to make it larger, just for this demonstration here. So like if we were trying to print a cylinder, but then I'm gonna press R to rotate it, but then we want to like print it for some reason, or there's a part that like sticks out like that, let's say. Okay, and then we could press M to move it. So maybe it's like, you know, maybe the base of it is still, you know, it has a good amount of surface area on the base, but it's like coming out at this pretty big angle. What angle did I make that? I don't even. But it's a, you know, pretty substantial angle. You could run into a situation where it's not going to be very reliable. So let's slice that. Will that actually slice it? Yeah. So that angle, like it depends also on the filament you're using and print temperatures and stuff like that. So you could get away with that angle, but you see how big the spaces get. It's kind of hard to see how big the spaces get as you get farther out on that angle. I guess really the whole angle, because that's how the angle is. So just for funsies, we select this and we say enable support, and then we say the threshold angle is like 50. I think I'm going in the right direction here. Yeah, so you see we changed the support angle. So now it's like, oh, all of this needs to be supported. That's what, you know, that's what it thinks it needs to be supported like. And you could do that, but that could cause problems because when you have support, a lot of times you have like a rougher surface, and there's different options you could do. You can change how much like contact there is with the model and the support, and uh, there's also like support material that's specifically made to be printed as supports. But if you're doing a multi filament like print like that, like this would be a nightmare. Just in terms of, it would take so long to print this if you had a different materials for the support. And like if you were using, I'm not familiar with which printer you're using, but like on the X1 Carbon, you know, it has the AMS system, so that's cool. But you'd have to retract it. You'd have to print. You'd have to do 2 filament swaps every single layer, and that's awful. So awful. So basically, if you had a part like this, it'd be like, well, hey, how about we just like print it on this end, and then it will not need support, essentially. Oh, and I guess I must have changed that universally. Yeah, I did, because I was under the global settings. So now you can see like any of these overhangs that previously didn't meet the support requirements on this bamboo calibration cube now have support on them. So that's, let's see. Oh, is that one? That's that one. Yeah, that one. Yeah, so that's supports. And like I said, I try to not use them because it just takes up more uh, space, and then it's just another, or it takes up more filament, and then it's just another thing that you have to remove later. But sometimes they can be really helpful, and sometimes there's no avoiding it. So there you go. Posh says, yeah, I opted for a single filament printer, so swapping is not an option for me. I got an enclosed printer. Yeah, cool. Yeah, and yeah, I'm not sure what about FlashForge, like if they have filament swapping like options. You have the FlashForge 5M Pro. Oh, let's just go ahead and look that up real quick. I like to see what you folks are talking about. FlashForge 5M Pro. Is that what it is? Adventurer 5M Pro. Um, uh, I'm not familiar with FlashForge. I wonder, do they have, doesn't look like they have a multi-filament dispenser. Wow, that's a really tall one. That'd be pretty cool to get a tall one. That would like, yeah, to get like a really big printer. Cool. Yeah, cool. Well, that's neat. So there you go. And yeah, Orca Slicer might be something to get into as well. Let me check that real quick. Orca Slicer. So Orca Slicer. Honestly, like Orca Slicer is probably something that I should be using. Probably. Because I kind of like to / just end up getting really nerdy with the printer settings. So, but that's, you know, again, that's one of those things. It's like, yes, that would be cool. And it would probably like improve something by, you know, 10%. But then the whole effort to switch, like transition all of my, you know, all of my prints that I have set up for print, you know, print profiles on the Bamboo Studio and all that stuff that I'm used to, that would take like a while. So I'm not sure in the short run that it would be worth sort of the effort there. Posh on YouTube says, can you use the Bamboo Labs with any printer? Oh, the Bamboo Lab Studio? I believe so, but I have not personally like set it up successfully for that, for any other printer. He says, I feel like a lot of tutorials are for Bamboo Studio. Yeah, because Bamboo Lab, they have like a big presence, big market share in terms of like the very like easy to use plug and play 3D printing experience. So there are a lot of tutorials, and yeah, any tutorials that I make right now anyway are going to be Bamboo Studio. But a lot of the info, like the basic info about like what are supports, how to use them, how to, you know, what are walls, like different, you know, techniques and methods and stuff are pretty similar across the board. But in terms of like how to implement them and actually use that specific software, that's what you're going to have specific tutorials for, depending on the software that you have. Let's see, let me get my camera situation over here. Switch this around. Zoop. Zoop. This is interesting. Well, this has been an interesting time. All right, cool. I think that's going to do it. And all right, so we're going to call it for today. Posh says, thanks for the help. Good luck with the rest of the stream. Thanks for spending the time to talk to me. Absolutely, Posh. That's what we do here over at RCwithAdam Ministries. We're trying to, you know, there's so much fake stuff in the world with all this AI stuff and just people, you know, trying to, well, anyway, stuff like that. I try to be a real person and give you real help, because you're a real person, probably, unless you're a bot. Who knows, right? No, but you're probably a real person, and so I know how that goes to, like, you know, you just want to have like a real person to talk to and ask a question, and then they can like use their brain and give you an answer and actually figure out like how to help you instead of just typing stuff into the internet void. So cool. All right. Well, I think we did some good work here today. hopefully I was able to help you guys with, or at least point you in the right direction. If not, we could probably get to it, I think, tomorrow. We should be able to do it tomorrow. Same time, same place. I'm going to sign off over on Instagram. See you later, Instagram people. I'll catch you on the next one. Be sure to check out the YouTube side for the giveaway videos that are happening over the next 12 days or so. See you later, Instagram. And on Facebook, nobody's on Facebook. Bye, Facebook. Facebook is like an empty cavern right now. And it's like, bye, 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 bye. All right. And last but not least, YouTube people, thanks for hanging out. Appreciate y'all. Greg, Posh, Varak, all these other people. Thanks for hanging out. Have a great day. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. And I will see you again on the next one.